The Trek DS1, the Dual Sport 1. I've owned this bike now for about 2 months, so I wanted to give kind of a 2-month update. What I think about the bike after 2 months of using it. Is it truly dual sport? Show you some upgrades that I've made to the bicycle, and also discuss, would I buy this bike again or would I get something else? First, I'll talk about the commuting on this bicycle. I use this as a daily commuter. So for 2 months, every day, Monday through Friday, I ride this bike to and from work. It's about 5 miles to and from work. And I found it to be an excellent commuter bicycle. It has 38C tires, which are a little wider. You've got 25C on the road bikes, 32C on most of your hybrids. So it's a little wider than the average hybrid, but it doesn't really slow you down. It's fast, it's nimble, and the reason I'm happy I purchased this over an FX is it has a front suspension on it with 63 millimeters of travel. And in my city, with our horrible roads, that suspension comes in handy. We do have new bike lanes, so that's cool, but they're constantly cluttered with stuff. They never clean them. So I'm constantly having to hop over things or drive over sticks when there's traffic coming. I can't veer out of the bike lane. So the suspension really helps. So 2 months, every day, Monday through Friday, to and from work, excellent as a commuter bicycle. As a mountain bike, I've found this to be quite capable. It's not a full-blown mountain bike, so you have to hit the trails with that in mind. It has those 38C tires, so you don't have the traction of a mountain bike, but you do have the durability. Your frame is more than capable of handling anything you could throw at it. The front suspension system has only got 63 millimeters of travel. Most mountain bikes have 100 millimeters or more. So you tend to bottom it out quite a bit, even when it's on the highest preload setting. But as long as you can handle the rattle, the bike is more than happy to take it along with you. This thing works great on mountain bikes, on mountain bike trails. I actually have a video showing a few clips of it on the mountain bike trails if you want to check that out. And I have plenty more videos coming, and I will soon be going to other mountain bike trails with this bike. So it's truly dual sport. Equally at home as a commuter bike, which it does great. Very good, not perfect, but very good mountain bike. Before I discuss the upgrades that I've made to this bicycle, I want to talk about, with two months of experience on it under my belt, would I buy it again? The answer is yes, I would buy it again, but I would buy the DS2. The reason I would buy the DS2, and to be fair, it is fair to note that the local bicycle shop tried to talk me into the DS2, but I thought they were just trying to upsell me. So I avoided it and went with the DS1. And there's a couple of reasons that I would buy the DS2 after owning this for 2 months. The first of which is this bicycle, the DS1, has mechanical disc brakes. They stop great. They work well. But disc brakes require adjustments. Mechanical disc brakes will require adjustments. And being that I now take this bike every weekend to the mountain bike trail, and it only has those 38C tires, so I'm on the brakes much more than you would be on a mountain bike that can grip into things and actually slow itself down. I'm actually sliding quite a bit with this with the wheels locked up. Because of that, I have to have these brakes adjusted. Hydraulic brakes would adjust themselves. So that would be a great thing for me. Plus, they feel so good. The hydraulic brakes, braking on them, very smooth. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, because I use this as a commuter bike, I have a GoPro camera that I keep mounted to this bicycle. I also have an Ion 700R Bontrager headlight, 700 lumen headlight, that I use when I'm using this as a commuter bike, mounted to the front of my bike. Top of that, I have a Bontrager Go Time computer. So all that kind of clutters up the handlebars on the DS1, and especially because of the curves on the handlebar, and we'll get to this in just a second. Because of the curves, there's very limited space to actually mount the items. So things like my Go Time computer is always sitting at an angle, my lights sitting at an angle, things like that. The DS2 has a Blendr stem on it. So you can mount things direct. It's a modular stem. You can mount things directly to it, like your GoPro, like your light, and so on. So those two things alone, plus the DS2 has an 8-speed cassette instead of a 7. So you get those extra gears. That'd be nice, but not really required, but it would be nice. It is $150 more, so that's to keep in mind. So if it came between buying or not buying, you'd be happy with the DS1, but the DS2, just a slightly better bike. Now let's get to the upgrades. On a typical commute, this is everything that I have mounted to my handlebars. My Bontrager Go Time computer, a GoPro camera, an Ion 700R headlight, a mount for the GoPro camera, and a mount for the headlight. So as you can see, this is quite a bit of stuff. Let me get this out of the way because I want to discuss the handlebars. This is the factory handlebar. So you have your stem that will be here, and then you have stuff starting at about here. So you only have this much room on both sides. Well, as you can see, that means everything's going to be on a tilt. So my computer's always at an angle. I have to turn my head. My headlight's at an angle. Camera, to get it straight, I have to have it right up against the stem. Well, that creates just a mess. You look like one of those people that has every accessory ever made for everything, and I don't want to be one of those people. I just try to use what I need, but this is the factory handlebars. So as you can see, it's kind of thin. They're sturdy. They've worked well a couple times out on the mountain bike trail. But here is the actual stem that comes on the bicycle. It is a 10-degree 90 millimeter stem. So it's a 10-degree up pitch and handlebar mounts in there. Well, the DS2 comes with a blender. This isn't Blendr compatible. Let's look at a Blendr compatible stem. This is the Blendr stem. This is the exact same stem that comes on the DS2 by default. Purchased this for $30 at the local bike shop. They installed it on the bike for me. The only thing about this stem is it only has a 7-degree up pitch instead of a 10. Factory one has a 10. The other thing about this is it requires a different handlebar, and I'll get to that in just a second. The factory handlebars are too small to fit in it. But let me reposition the camera and I'll show you what the Blendr does. This is the Blendr and a couple of attachments, and what it does different than the factory stem. Here's the factory stem. So you just have a traditional cap on it. Blendr has this specialized design that allows mounting points to be installed around this front cap and the actual stem. I think you can have up to 3 mounting points. I know you can do 2. I have them here, but you can buy all kinds of attachments. Things for your phone, things for GPS and computers and so on. I have 2 points here, one for my GoPro and one for my Ion light. But you can see it's very clean. It keeps clutter to a minimum. Doesn't have all this stuff. Because remember, before, in these small areas, I had 2 things over here. One thing over here at an angle, and 2 things over here. Took up every room, and one of them was at an angle. Looked horrible. This is very clean. It's also lighter weight. This weighs considerably less than the factory. I don't have the actual weight because this is now mounted to the bike. But it's a noticeable difference when you're holding it, as well as these handlebars. Along with the Blendr, I had them install these Bontrager RL Lowrider handlebars. These are actual mountain bike handlebars. Now, they don't have as much of an upsweep as the factory bars. Matter of fact, here are the factory bars. So you can see they have a little bit more of an upsweep, but the hand grip area actually tilts down. So what ended up happening was, even though I lost 3 degrees with the stem and I lost that upsweep in this area, the actual grips on both sides actually ended up being the exact same height and distance as the factory bars. So it worked out well. So this is my 2 upgrades, my Blendr and my handlebars, these RL Lowrisers. And let me just show you how clean this looks. There is the GoPro as it would be mounted. And I just take this Ion 700R light, I turn it upside down, slide it straight onto this mount, and then clip it down to hold it in place. And there's the light mounted, there's the GoPro. Get this repositioned. Look how clean that looks. Very clean, very smooth, and very light because I saved weight not only on the stem but also on these handlebars. So that's the two upgrades I made to the bike. So in essence, two things that would come on the DS2. So the only thing I'm missing from the DS2 are the hydraulic brakes and that 8-speed cassette. So just a few gears difference. Which is why if I had it to do over again, I would just go ahead and buy the DS2. It's $150. It would cost me more than that to upgrade the brakes. So just thought I would share that bit of knowledge. Other than that, absolutely thrilled with this bicycle. It does everything that I would ever want as far as road and trail. It rides good, it's fast, and it can handle a lot of abuse. So that is my 2-month report with the Trek DS1. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.